We have to talk about this before we end the stream. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 days now. Papa John's ex-CEO, Cowboys Jerry Jones, wanted me to fire NFL's Roger Goodell. Papa John is taking a break from eating 30 pizzas in a month to come out and tell this crazy story about how Jerry Jones and Dan Snyder wanted him to get Roger Goodell fired. Former Papa John CEO John Shatner's making some wild claims about Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Has nothing to do. He didn't drop the N-word in this interview, shockingly, because it was with Jason Whitlock. But let's hear this fucking crazy story.
Snyder and Jones hate Goodell. I said, no, this is not my job to fire your commissioner. He works for you. Remember, Goodell is a coward, and he is incompetent, and he's just lucky. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys.
He could never have built a pizza franchise like me. He just walked into the NFL.
Ingrid Newey with PepsiCo and Dan Snyder all called me, several other folks, about Goodell's conduct and the way he was handling this. Jones and Dan Snyder with the Redskins wanted Goodell fired. This is like the November the 31st or something. It was a day before, like the 1st of November, end of October. They called me and said, you need to take this guy out. You're the number one sponsor of the league as far as notoriety and acceptance and association. Everybody loves you. They love Peyton. We hate Goodell. He sits on 57th Street all day long and drinks Chardonnay. He's a drunk. And yet you're paying $50 million a year. Snyder and Jones hate Goodell. I said, no, this is not my job to fire your commissioner. He works for you. I just sell pizzas. I have a family of small businesses that.
Like, and then he kind of like goes a little more into it, but that's like the main thing. He's saying that Jerry Jones and Dan Snyder came and told him what a drunk loser Roger Goodell is, and that we want you to get him fired. You're Papa John. You're the biggest sponsor in the NFL. Get this man fired. What the fuck?
I just sell pizzas. I'm like, I think you need to look in a mirror and tell yourself that. Like, he went on a tangent like for like 45 seconds just talking about how important he is.
Oh, I love it. Papa John is awesome, dude. I do believe that there's probably some truth to that. I don't know if there's.
I 100% believe the story. I 100% believe it.
Yeah. Because Roger Goodell, he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and I think that I'd say with Jones is clearly, I'd say Jones and Robert Kraft are the two most powerful owners in the NFL, and for obvious reasons. And both of those guys don't like Roger Goodell for different reasons. And so I could totally believe that this scenario happened in some capacity. Dude, it's awesome. They called him a drunk. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my Lord.
And it also doesn't surprise me because of the timing. This would have been the 2017-ish, which is around the Ezekiel Elliott suspension time frame, all of that stuff, and why Jerry Jones had a big problem at the time with some of the things that Goodell was doing punishment-wise. And also, like, Papa John's, despite everything that had to do with the NFL, specifically with the Cowboys, there was a big relationship there for a long time. So it doesn't surprise me. I believe it, and I believe they wanted to get him fired. But the thing is, it's very tough to justify firing your commissioner when the NFL was more successful than it had ever been in history. You know what I mean? And that's the bottom line is when you look at the numbers that they were bringing in, the money that they were bringing in, up until the pandemic and going woke when they started, dipping a touch, it's still through the roof. So I'm not surprised they try to backdoor force him out like that.